Welcome, everyone, back to the Wrestling Stable podcast. I am your host, Will Williams. Today, we're going to be talking about the National Wrestling Alliance Into the Fire 2019 pay-per-view. So please remember to follow us at Wrestling Stable on Twitter and WrestlingStable.com for all your breaking news and wrestling updates. So just general notes about the show. We had Stu Bennett joining Joe Galli on commentary, who of course, replaced Jim Cornette. Stu Barrett, WWE fans would know as Bad News Barrett. And all wrestlers came out through the crowd instead of down the aisle. So it was a kind of a different kind of approach to the studio setup. But the first match of the night was a singles match between Eli Drake and Ken Anderson. This came down to Eli Drake going for the gravy train, but Anderson reversed into a roll-up. Anderson went to the top rope, but Eli runs up and jumps up on the top turnbuckle to meet him. Anderson goes for the sunset flip from the top, but Eli blocks it and sits down on Ken Anderson for the 1, 2, 3. So your winner, Eli Drake. Next, we had an interview. The National Treasure and Real World's champion Nick Aldis comes out to be interviewed by David Marquez. He talks about the resurgence of the National Wrestling Alliance, obviously so much under his reign as champion. He says that Sweet Charlotte, the 10 pounds of gold, will be headlining the show, and says that when the bell rings, James and he will have a chance to live forever. But if James is going to do it, he'll have to come into the deep water with him to beat him 2 out of 3 falls. He also makes a special note that Camille has the night off. Then James Storm comes out and says that at the end of the night, Nick will know that he has been in the ring with one of the toughest SOBs to ever walk the earth. James says at the end of the night, he will hear "and new World Heavyweight Champion" and "sorry about your damn luck." Then we have a singles match. We have the debuting Tasha Steelz coming out to ringside to speak to David Marquez. She says that the Boricua Badass always brings the heat. So we have Tasha Steelz versus Thunder Rosa. Of course, her 2 other stable mates will be in action in a tag team match later on that night. So this was really fast-paced action, and this came down to Thunder Rosa wrapping up Tasha up in a surfboard and then walking her around the ring, still locked up. This match wraps up with Tasha hits a bicycle kick and then a clothesline into the corner, then hits a running cutter. Steelz goes for the kill shot, but is blocked. Thunder Rosa charges at Tasha, who is in the corner, but is leapfrogged, but still able to kick Tasha in the face and drop her to her knees. Thunder Rosa goes to the top and hits a double stomp on the back of Tasha Steelz for the 1, 2, 3. Your winner of this contest, Thunder Rosa. After the match, Thunder Rosa immediately jumps on Tasha again to beat her up some more when Ashley Vox comes out to attack Thunder Rosa. But she fights her off and gets her into a nasty-looking arm breaker. Tasha is helped to the back, and Ashley is in agony, holding her arm, which is not a good sign ahead of her big tag match later in the night. Next, we have a singles match, coming to the ring with Aaron Stevens versus Trevor Murdoch. So we start off this with and Aaron Stevens coming out. Aaron says that will, for the first time on American soil, perform the Mongrovian flag ceremony. Aaron says he is not only a master of karate, which reminds him is karate, but is the 1998 karaoke champion of Monrovia. Aaron asks the audience to remain silent. Then sings the Mongrovian national anthem, which is hilarious. Then Trevor Murdoch comes out. This comes down to yelling karate and then charges Trevor, who hits him with a spine buster. He goes to the top and grabs the Mongrovian flag, and Trevor throws it to the ground. Aaron gets to the apron to distract Trevor. Trevor traces Aaron to the outside and then to the back, and then comes back into the ring to receive a double spike. Pins Trevor Murdoch for the 1, 2, 3. Your winner, ? Next, we have a tag team match for the NWA World Tag Team Championship. This is the first championship match of the night. We have Rock and Roll Express comes out with Eddie Kingston and Homicide, aka Outlaw Inc. They go to the interview stand to be interviewed by David Marquez. Ricky says that they brought out Outlaw Inc. as an insurance policy and that Wildcard is any tag team's nightmare. Then Wildcard comes out with their own backup plan in the Dawson brothers. And I really think this is a great way to get the other tag team players on the pay-per-view without having an additional match. So we have the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, the champions, versus Wildcard, Thomas Latimer and Royce Isaacs. So this comes down to Royce and Latimer having some communication issues, causing them to hit each other a few times. Ricky Morton hits a Canadian destroyer on Latimer, which is awesome. The Dawson's Outlaw Inc. start brawling on the outside. Royce is distracted by the action on the outside, and then Ricky and Robert hit him with that world famous double drop kick for the 1-2-3. So your winners, and still NWA World Tag Team Champions, the Rock and Roll Express. After the match, Joe announces that the NWA will be back on pay-per-view on January 24th on Fight TV. Stu says that he has some good news, and that is that the pay-per-view will have the return of the NWA Television Heavyweight Wrestling Championship. Next, we have an interview with Eli Drake, and he comes out to be interviewed by David Marquez. He asks the crowd who they think is going to come out on top in the main event. He says that he is in the James Storm camp. Eli says that he has just beat one of the biggest names in the game, Ken Anderson. Eli Drake makes some odd pumping gas analogy, which I didn't really understand. And then Ken Anderson comes out and attacks Eli Drake from behind, which the crowd chants, "Pump his gas, pump his gas," which is funny, even though I'm lost on the analogy. Anderson puts Drake's neck in a steel chair and runs him into the turnbuckle. The referees come out and try to stop Anderson, but he can't be stopped. He brings Eli into the ring and hits the mic check on the steel chair. Our next contest is a tag team match featuring Allysin Kay and Ashley Vox against Melina and Marti Belle. Now, Allysin Kay was supposed to come out with Ashley Vox, but she got involved with Thunder Rosa earlier that night in that nasty armbar, so Allysin Kay has to come out alone. Then Melina and Marti Belle come out. David Marquez says that Allysin does have a tag team partner, and it is ODB. So we have Allysin Kay, the NWA World's Women's Champion, and ODB replacing Ashley Vox against Melina and Marti Belle. So this comes down to Marti Belle hitting a side Russian leg sweep on Kay. Kay almost tags in ODB, but Belle stops her. Belle tags in Melina, who goes for a kick but misses and lands into a split. Kay tags in ODB, who beats down Belle and hits a fallaway slam. ODB splashes Belle into the corner and then hits a Bronco Buster on Belle. ODB goes for the pin, which is broken up by Melina. Kay comes into the ring and hits the AK-47 on Melina. Belle tries a move on Kay, but ODB hits Belle with a bam TKO. Your winners, Allysin Kay, the NWA Women's World Champion, and ODB, replacing Ashley Vox. Next, we have another championship match, and that is for the NWA National Championship. We have champion Colt Boom Boom Cabana defending against Aron Stevens and Ricky Starks. So Starks hits the senton on Stevens while also drop kicking Colt. Stevens goes for the tornado DDT on Colt, but Colt blocks it. Colt puts on the Billy Goat's curse, that modified Boston Crab, on Starks. Ricky Starks rolls up Colt into a backslide, but Colt kicks out. Colt rolls Starks up, but he kicks out. Starks hits a tornado DDT finally on Colt, and Colt gets the Superman pin on Ricky, but Question Mark breaks it up with a throat punch. Aron rolls into the ring and covers Colt while Question Mark holds back Ricky Starks. Aron Stevens gets the 1-2-3. Your winner and new NWA National Champion, Aron Stevens. Up next, we have the main event of the evening, and it is for the NWA World's Championship. But first, we have Tim Storm, Nick Aldis's selected referee, coming out to speak with David Marquez. And we also know that Tim Storm and Brian Hebner will be the special guest referees, and they're both in the ring with David Marquez. Hebner is referee for fall number 1, and Storm is the referee for fall number 2. If it goes to a third fall, a coin flip would determine the referee. So we have Nick Aldis, the champion, versus James Storm. So we have Camille coming out, and Nick tells her to go to the back. Nick turns around, and Storm hits him with the last call super kick for the 1-2-3 to win fall number 1. James Storms goes to the outside to get a chair, but Nick Aldis rolls up James Storms for the 1-2-3 to win fall number 2. Now a third referee comes out for the coin flip. If it is a heads, it's Hebner. If it's tails, it's Tim Storm. It comes out heads, and it is Brian Hebner for the referee for the third fall. Aldis goes to clothesline James Storm, but he ducks, and Aldis clotheslines Brian Hebner instead, which obviously knocks him down. Tim Storm comes into the ring since Hebner is down. Aldis goes for the sunset flip, but Storm counters into the pin, but Aldis kicks out. Storm hits the last call super kick. Storm rolls up Aldis, but Storm takes off the turnbuckle, and Aldis pushes Storm into the corner, which forces James Storm into the exposed metal of the turnbuckle. Aldis puts the Kingsland Cloverleaf on Storm, who is already knocked out from the turnbuckle, causing Tim Storm to call for the bell and award the third fall to Nick Aldis. Your winner of 2 out of 3 falls and still NWA World Champion Nick Aldis. After this match, James Storm is helped to the back, and Nick Aldis goes over to the interview area to talk to David Marquez. He says that this ring belongs to the NWA. He says the NWA World title tells the world who he is. He says that there is not a man alive that can take the NWA title from him. Then the lights turn off, and the villain's music hits. From the top of the arena comes out the villain, Marti Scurll. Aldis gets into the ring to meet the villain. The villain and the National Treasure stand in the ring face to face. Nick looks absolutely shocked and in disbelief that the villain is in the ring and shakes his head as he leaves the ring. I have to imagine that this is going to be the main event for the January 24th pay-per-view. So we have the return of the NWA Television Championship, that old belt that everyone loved, that Aron held, that Tully held. And I'm hoping the villain Marti Scurll challenging the world champion Nick Aldis for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. So thank you guys so much for joining us here today. Remember to visit us at Wrestling Stable on Twitter and WrestlingStable.com for all the breaking news and results, and have a great day.